This next guest has inspired listeners worldwide, and now she's going to do the same for us today. She's an international keynote speaker, inspiring others to find their dreams and realize that no risk means no reward. Check out our new and upcoming keynote speaker right here today on The Conversation. Please welcome Miss Kelly Falardeau. Kelly, welcome.
Your show today. I'm so excited about being on your show.
Oh, we're excited to definitely have you here and taking the time out to talk with our listeners.
Well, I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm truly honored that you've invited me to be a part of your show.
Well, Kelly, are you hungry now that you've heard like 7,000 cakes that are being made right here?
Oh, my gosh. I'm trying to lose some weight.
Yeah, that didn't help for any of us.
No, it didn't. But every once in a while, you do have to treat yourself. So I do believe in that.
Absolutely. Hey, one of the top 10 most influential speakers of 2011. That is remarkable. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was quite an honor when I got that email that that I was the top 2011 speaker. They're like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me, So I'm really excited about what 2012 is going to bring me.
Well, it just epitomizes what you're doing, the platform you're using, and that what you speak about around the world is really coming from the heart. That's how you get honors and accolades like that. Now let's talk a little bit about your journey that brought you to your path of inspiration to others. How did you get started in this? And if you would, just for those who this may be the first time they're hearing about you, go back to the beginning and talk about how all this came about and what inspired you. And if you don't mind mentioning the tragedy that happened at a very young age for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Clark, imagine this. You yourself, you're 23 years old, you're training to be a champion boxer, and so you're out at the gym working out, and you get a phone call from your wife who is 21 years old and who's pregnant, and, you just have a 2-year-old little girl, and, life is great. Everything is awesome. And imagine you get this phone call from your wife from the hospital saying, you better hurry up and get your butt to the hospital because, our daughter has been burned. And, you can imagine how tragic that would be. Now, think of it from my mom's perspective, for all the women that are out there listening. Imagine that you're 21 years old, you're pregnant, you've given up your first baby for adoption at 16, you had your second baby at 19, and now you're 21 years old and, pregnant with your third. And life is great, you're married and, you hear some screaming. And so you open up the door, and there you see your 2-year-old daughter covered in flames. And, you're totally exhausted. You don't know what the heck to do, but you run outside, and there you see, your nephews were throwing shingles into a fire, and the spark came out and landed on your 2-year-old little baby. And for those of us who have 2-year-olds in our lives, we know how little a 2-year-old is. And, my mom grabbed me, and, they had already thrown the bucket of water on me, and my mom grabbed me and ripped my dress off me, and they rushed me to the hospital. And the whole time, I'm crying and telling my mom I'm in pain, and, please, Mommy, take the pain away, right? And being my mom is only 21 and barefoot and pregnant, they're rushing me to the hospital, and I got to the hospital, and then I guess what had happened is they had taken me away right up to the operating room. They were already expecting me. They knew I was coming, so there was all kinds of doctors and nurses there waiting, and they put my mom in a room and kind of forgot about her, and they didn't know where she was for about 3 hours. They couldn't find her, and my dad had gotten to the hospital, and my grandparents had gotten to the hospital. And, then they put me into the operating room and did some surgery on me, and they put me to sleep for about 3 days. And they wouldn't let my parents come see me because, I wasn't looking very good, right? I was burnt from my head right to my belly and a little bit on my legs. Both my arms were burnt. My one nipple is burnt off, and, that my scars go all the way around my chest and my face, all the way around to my back. And, if you can imagine this, here I am, 2 years old, and I'm waking up, and here I am, I'm not sure what's going on, right? Here I am, I can hardly move, I'm covered in bandages, and I'm looking around, and all I can see is doctors and nurses. My mom and dad aren't even there. And, I wake up, and the only thing that's keeping me alive is a couple of intravenous's that are in my hand and feet, and a breathing tube out of my throat. And, if you can imagine, a 2-year-old can't really even talk, right? So it's got to be just very traumatizing. And so, eventually I was my parents were able to come see me, and, and of course it was tragic for them, right? Like, here they are, 21 and 23, and, like I said, Mom had given up her first baby for adoption. Here I am. They don't even know if I'm going to live or die. In fact, they're expecting me to die because 75% of my body was burnt back in 1968, right? And so it was pretty tragic for them. And then what ended up happening is about probably a month and a half into it, because I was in the hospital for about 3 months solid. And what happened was about a month and a half later, every day my mom and dad were happy because that meant, I had lived, right, one more day. And they thought by the end of it I was, in the clear. And about, I think, like I said, my mom said it was about a month and a half into it, what ended up happening is my mom had read my medical chart, and it had said that there was a code in there. And I think it was code 111. In our hospital, if you hear that over the hospital announcement system, that means that someone is dying and you need to get to that unit, like ASAP. Well, they put that in my chart, and my mom had seen it, and she said, well, what happened? And they said, oh, we just put that there just in case. Well, they wouldn't tell my mom that they actually had to resuscitate me that night. And and at that point, I actually got hypnotized to go back to that day because I wanted to know why I lived when I was about 18 years old. I was kind of struggling with, why do I need to live? Why did I need to go through all this, right? And so I went back to that day, and what had happened was I had a near-death experience. And so on that day, here I was, looking down on my body, and me and my God were having